Hey guys, Steve here. Today I got to look at the New York for you. It's the Tier 4 American Battleship. Got a match on the map Ring, Capture the Base mode game. There you can see my Willis Lee build. I haven't put a lot of thought into that, but Cunningham's a fine first choice for the inspiration for the ship. I'm not planning on put a whole lot of points into Lee at this point, but I think for kind of the lower tier American battleships, Lee would be a pretty solid commander choice. In my mind, due to the massive, I think these are like one of the least inaccurate sets of guns in the game. New York is a frustrating ship for me to play for that reason, just because I trust my aim well enough that I want the shots to go where I'm trying to get them to go. This ship just kind of shoots wildly. It's like shooting a shotgun in the dark, and you might hit something, but it's not going to be the most accurate. But as I was saying, I think Lee would be a fine choice for this ship, just because in my mind how I play this, usually I just want to be tanking a lot of damage. If you can attract the enemy's attention, and it's a very sturdy ship, it's a really brawly ship, you can kind of bounce a lot of damage. That'll allow your other teammates to get their own damage in on these ships. Being a tier 4 ship, obviously you never know exactly what your team's going to be doing in these lower tier matches, but you know, usually you want to play the game assuming that your team's going to be semi-competent until they prove otherwise. But you can land some shots. Now I want to play this ship at close range, 8 to 10 kilometers. But what you need to be doing is concerning yourself with destroyer, positions. They can wipe you out very quickly. You don't have the maneuverability to be dodging a lot of torps. But guns beyond that range are unreliable, let's say. I don't know, those of you that have Sims, maybe you can let me know in the comments. You got one. Yeah, I mean, if you land your shots, you can do some damage, but the if is the big part, if you can land those shots. You can let me know in the comments, though, if you have Sims, how it affects kind of the Wyoming, New York, New Mexico accuracy. I suspect it's still fairly frustrating, but it's probably mitigated a little bit. I have a high level Cunningham, which, again, should be helping. So I think for players that are just kind of starting off with low-level commanders, this ship would probably be fairly frustrating. But we're just going to try and angle away against this Congo. And you can see we are landing quite a bit of damage here. So when the shots are landing, and things are alright. But there's a lot of times where you'll shoot a full salvo, you might hit one shell. And for that, in my mind, I'm kind of starting to think, for these really inaccurate kind of shotgunny American battleships, maybe just aiming towards the middle of the ship would help a little bit. I don't know. I mean, you can see here I'm still aiming for like waterline citadel shots. Now if the shots go where they're trying to go, or where you're trying to get them to go, as you see there, you can do quite a bit of damage. But if I showed you a game where I'm missing all my shots, it might make a little bit more sense. Which, unfortunately is probably the regular occurrence as opposed to the exception. So if you're aiming at the middle of the ship, just due to the dispersion, maybe you're going to hit a little bit more of the shells into the upper hull, into the superstructure. I don't know. But once you're getting at under 10 km, the gun actually does tighten up quite a bit, so that's why I recommend trying to get into these closer positions, because you'll notice a dramatic improvement at those distances. So again, you're going to want to stick with your team if possible. Hard thing to do at these low-level or low-tier matches, because you don't really know what they're going to be doing. And frankly, they don't know what they're going to be doing either. So we line up another one in the Congo, take him out, and we're actually up to about 80k damage so far. And you'll notice, I mean, we've taken some shots, but Not a lot. If you're angling your ship properly, you'll be doing alright. Another benefit of Lee is he does get an extra heal if you have him spec'd out properly. I think it's the 4th perk on his build. Gives you the option to have an extra heal. I would definitely take that. That's quite useful on all battleships. I mean, there's kind of a brawler type commander for each line, at least that we have so far in the game. If you have the option to take an extra heal on a battleship, you should definitely take it. That's probably one of the most valuable perks in the game, especially for battleships who are going to be focused on by the enemy. They're going to be trying to shoot you a lot, so that's just going to extend the life of your ship. Now keep in mind, if you're taking citadel shots, you can only heal 10% of that damage, which is not a lot. So if you're not angling properly and you're taking these massive shots, the heals aren't going to help you much anyways. There's a good example of the typical dispersion on the ship. That's the regular shot. I mean, getting these citadels and, you know, devastating strikes like we saw earlier, that takes the luck on the New York. So for that reason, let's just put it this way. If I ever decide to sell ships that I don't intend to play anymore, now that I have adequate footage for you guys to check out the New York, I don't really plan on playing this ship ever again. I'll do a tech tree with the USN Battleships one of these days. We'll play it then. You guys can laugh at my horrible shooting, but beyond that, this is not a ship I would ever play for fun. It's just one you're going to have to grind through. The New Mexico, well, it's still not the most accurate ship. It's a much better battleship. Then you get to Colorado, and then obviously the Iowa is a very strong ship. So it's worth just kind of plugging your nose, grinding through, and getting through this ship. And obviously we were expecting torps there, so I'm just going to turn away. And I kind of overturned there. That's another one of the downsides of these things. Really slow rudder shift. Maneuverability really poor on these, really all the USN battleships through the Colorado. So it's just something you're going to have to get used to playing this line. But this ship, I don't know. It's just kind of frustrating. Now here's something that you know, I mean, there's only one ship left, so it's not that big of a deal. We're obviously routing this team, but when you're playing these ships, kind of managing where you are on the map is important. If, let's say, they had 4 or 5 more ships and I was here, it's going to take me a long time just to get back to relevancy in this map. So if you can keep an eye on where you're positioned and kind of gradually sail towards the action as you're dealing with whoever you're dealing with, that's ideal. Otherwise, you're just kind of inadvertently taking yourself out of the map. So that's a look at the New York. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. A lot of World of Warships coming all the time. Questions for me, comments, leave them below. Love to hear from you guys. And we'll see y'all later. Alright, peace.